10 powerful psychological techniques to attract prosperity and success. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to magnetize opportunities, wealth, and success, while others work tirelessly and still struggle to make progress? The truth is, success isn't just about hard work. It's about mastering the psychology behind prosperity, the invisible patterns that shape your thoughts, emotions, and actions long before the results show up in your reality. This video isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about understanding and applying 10 powerful psychological techniques that can literally reprogram your mind to attract abundance, the same way successful entrepreneurs, visionaries, and millionaires have done for decades. Because here's the reality: your outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. Change your inner world, and everything else starts to shift. The way you think, the way people respond to you, the opportunities that seem to suddenly appear. So, if you're ready to stop chasing prosperity and start attracting it, effortlessly, naturally, and intentionally, then stay with me until the end of this video. By the time we're done, you'll understand how to use your own mind as your most powerful ally in creating success, freedom, and abundance in every area of your life. Let's begin. Topic 1. The psychology of self-worth. Why you attract what you believe you deserve. Everything begins with how you see yourself. Before any opportunity appears, before money finds its way to you, before success even becomes a possibility, there's a silent belief operating beneath the surface. What do I truly believe I deserve? That question determines the ceiling of your prosperity more than any external circumstance ever could. Because the mind doesn't attract what it wants, it attracts what it believes. Think about it. Two people can have the same skills, education, and even face the same challenges, but one rises to the top while the other stays stuck. The difference isn't luck or fate, it's self-worth. Self-worth acts like a filter. It tells the subconscious mind, this is who I am, this is what I'm capable of, and this is what I expect. And life, being a perfect mirror, reflects that belief back in the form of opportunities, relationships, income, and success. When you believe you're worthy of prosperity, you begin to make decisions aligned with that worth. You walk differently. You speak with quiet confidence. You stop settling for what's beneath you. People sense it, sometimes without even understanding why. They feel your energy, your presence, your certainty, and that energy naturally attracts more abundance. But when you secretly feel unworthy, when you carry guilt, shame, or fear of being seen, the mind unconsciously pushes away success. You might procrastinate, self-sabotage, or make safe decisions that keep you small, because deep down, you're trying to match reality to your inner beliefs. Every self-made millionaire eventually faces this truth. Before they could earn more, they had to believe they were worth more. Oprah Winfrey once said, "You don't get in life what you want, you get what you believe." Her story is the perfect example. She grew up in poverty, faced trauma, and had every reason to believe life was unfair. But she made a decision, a radical one, to believe she was meant for more. That belief became the foundation of her empire. She didn't just dream of abundance, she felt worthy of it. Self-worth is not arrogance, it's self-recognition. It's saying, I am enough and I'm capable of expanding my life. You can't manifest prosperity from a place of unworthiness, because the subconscious mind will always resist what it believes you don't deserve. That's why affirmations alone don't work unless they're backed by genuine belief. You can repeat, I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if a quiet voice inside still whispers, I don't deserve it, that's the vibration the universe responds to. So, how do you raise your self-worth? You start by recognizing the stories you've been telling yourself about who you are. Most of them didn't even begin with you. They came from parents, teachers, society, people who were repeating their own limitations. Maybe you heard that money is evil, or that success changes people, or that wanting more makes you selfish. Those ideas sink deep into the subconscious, shaping your financial identity without you realizing it. But here's the truth. You are allowed to desire more. You are allowed to thrive. You are allowed to be both humble and rich, both kind and powerful, both spiritual and successful. Building self-worth means taking responsibility for your inner narrative. Every time you achieve something and dismiss it as luck or not a big deal, you weaken your prosperity signal. But when you pause, acknowledge your progress, and celebrate even small victories, you rewire your brain to expect success as natural. Neuroscience shows that self-recognition activates reward circuits in the brain, reinforcing confidence and creating momentum for future success. Imagine your mind as a thermostat. If your self-worth is set too low, the moment your results rise above it, through a new job, a great relationship, or a big sale, you'll unconsciously bring things back down. You'll miss calls, delay action, overspend, or attract conflict. But when you raise your internal thermostat, prosperity becomes your new normal. You don't need to chase it anymore. It starts to flow to you effortlessly. Every great transformation begins with one decision: I am worthy. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. Because the moment you believe that, your subconscious stops resisting. You start showing up differently in conversations, asking for more, negotiating better, daring to take risks. And suddenly, opportunities that used to seem impossible begin to find their way to you. That's not magic. That's psychology in motion. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. Regardless of how people view him, his sense of self-worth is unshakable. He doesn't wait for approval or certainty. He acts as if he already belongs in the realm of billion-dollar innovation. That's why his ventures attract not only investors, but also global attention. His belief in his own capacity is contagious. The world bends around people who believe in their worth. The same can be true for you. Start noticing how often you downplay yourself. When someone compliments you, do you accept it or deflect it? When an opportunity arises, do you lean in or hesitate? Every small moment reveals how your subconscious defines your worth. And every time you choose to act from worthiness rather than fear, you shift your entire trajectory. Here's a simple truth that can change everything. You will never outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as average, your results will always align with that image. If you see yourself as valuable, capable, and deserving, your results will begin to reflect that belief. Life mirrors your inner perception. Raise the mirror, and you raise your reality. Remember, prosperity is not something you chase, it's something you allow. But you can only allow it when you feel worthy of it. That's why self-worth is the first and most essential psychological technique for attracting success. Because when you truly believe you deserve more, you unconsciously begin to create the conditions for more. So, from this moment forward, start affirming your worth, not just with words, but with actions. Set boundaries. Value your time. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your greatness, not your limits. And above all, make peace with the idea that you are enough right now as you are, and still capable of infinite growth. The mind that knows its worth becomes magnetic. The person who recognizes their value stops chasing and starts attracting. And when that happens, prosperity no longer feels like a dream. It becomes your natural state. Topic 2. The law of focus. How your attention creates financial reality. What you focus on, you feed. It's one of the simplest psychological truths, yet it determines the entire direction of your life. Your mind is not a passive observer, it's an amplifier. Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows, and wherever your energy flows, your results grow. Prosperity and success don't begin with action. They begin with attention. You can't attract abundance while focusing on lack. You can't create opportunity while constantly thinking about problems. Your focus builds the reality you live in. Focus is mental currency. Every moment, you are spending it, whether you realize it or not. Every time you think about failure, you invest in more failure. Every time you think about possibilities, you invest in progress. The brain doesn't distinguish much between imagination and reality. When you visualize a problem, your body reacts as if it's real, releasing stress hormones and narrowing perception. But when you focus on abundance, the opposite happens. Your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, expanding creativity and clarity. That's not magic, it's neuropsychology in action. Your focus literally reshapes your brain. Through neuroplasticity, the neural pathways you use most often become stronger. So if you constantly focus on what's missing, your mind becomes wired to detect scarcity everywhere. But if you train yourself to focus on gratitude, success, and solutions, your brain begins to tune itself to that frequency. noticing new ideas, people, and possibilities. This filtering system, called the reticular activating system, RAS, acts as the gatekeeper of your awareness. It doesn't show you what's real. It shows you what's relevant to your dominant thoughts. You decide what that is by where you place your focus. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." That statement isn't just about productivity, it's about focus. Buffett understands that scattered attention creates scattered results. Every no he says is a yes to concentrated prosperity. He protects his focus like treasure because he knows that diluted attention weakens wealth creation. Most people, however, live in distraction. Their minds are pulled in every direction: notifications, opinions, fears, and comparisons. They feed their attention to everything that doesn't matter and wonder why success feels distant. Focus is like sunlight. When dispersed, it warms. When concentrated, it ignites. Prosperity ignites only when your attention stops scattering and starts converging. Steve Jobs mastered this principle. He designed both his life and his company around simplicity. He eliminated clutter, not for aesthetics, but for mental clarity. He understood that focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, better. When you channel your attention fully into one direction, results compound. Your vision strengthens, your decisions sharpen, and your energy multiplies. But focus isn't about denial or pretending problems don't exist. It's about deciding which thoughts deserve your emotional power. You can acknowledge reality without giving it dominance. You can notice a financial challenge without making it your identity. Prosperous thinkers see problems, but they focus on solutions. The difference between worry and wealth is where you place your focus after the fact. Tony Robbins often says, "Where focus goes, energy flows." But the hidden truth is that where energy flows, results grow. Your focus creates emotion. Emotion drives action, and action creates reality. When you focus on scarcity, you feel fear, and fear freezes action. When you focus on abundance, you feel confidence, and confidence fuels movement. That's the inner chain reaction that shapes every outcome in your life. You don't need superhuman discipline to master focus, only awareness. Start noticing what claims your attention throughout the day. Is it fear or faith? Complaints or gratitude? Comparison or creation? Every time you redirect your focus from negativity to vision, you strengthen your mental muscles for prosperity. Focus is like training the lens of a camera. At first, it's blurry. With repetition, the image becomes sharp. Imagine beginning each morning by intentionally focusing on what you want to expand: your goals, your purpose, your gratitude. You visualize your future vividly, feel it emotionally, and let that vibration guide your decisions. Within weeks, your perception changes. You start seeing possibilities where before you saw problems. That's how your inner focus begins shaping your outer results. To attract prosperity, protect your focus fiercely. Stop giving attention to gossip, negativity, or worry. They drain your creative power. When you catch your mind drifting toward lack, gently bring it back to your vision. That single shift, repeated consistently, reprograms your brain for success. Because the mind moves toward what it repeatedly pictures and what it feels most real. Your focus is the architect of your destiny. Every great achiever knows this. They don't waste attention on things they can't control. They invest it where it multiplies. The difference between an average life and an extraordinary one is not intelligence or luck. It's the precision of focus. You can't build wealth while thinking scarcity. You can't create expansion while staring at limitation. Focus is the bridge between desire and manifestation, the quiet power that transforms thought into experience. When you learn to direct it deliberately, success stops being something you chase. It becomes something you attract. Because prosperity is not outside of you. It's simply waiting for your focus to find it. Topic 3. The subconscious blueprint, reprogramming the mind for wealth. Behind every financial result, every opportunity, and every success story, there's a powerful, invisible force at work, your subconscious blueprint. This inner program determines how much abundance, love, and success you allow yourself to experience. You can work hard, set goals, and take action, but if your subconscious believes you're not worthy of wealth, you'll unconsciously block or sabotage it. That's why true prosperity begins not with doing more, but with reprogramming your mind to receive more. The subconscious mind is like the operating system of your life. It holds every belief you've absorbed since childhood, many of which you never chose consciously. Between birth and age 7, your brain functions in a highly suggestible state, like a sponge. During that period, everything you hear, see, or feel becomes part of your internal truth. So if you grew up around scarcity, hearing things like, money is hard to make, rich people are greedy, or you have to struggle to succeed, those statements didn't remain just words. They became commands your subconscious still follows today. This explains why so many people repeat the same financial patterns, no matter how much they try to change. They want prosperity consciously, but deep down, an old belief whispers, I'm not ready, I don't deserve it, or that's for others, not me. And the subconscious, which governs about 95% of your thoughts and actions, always wins. It's the autopilot running the ship, even when your conscious mind insists on going somewhere else. The first step in reprogramming is awareness, noticing your emotional reactions around money and success. Do you feel inspired when you think of wealth, or tense and doubtful? Do you admire successful people or secretly resent them? Those emotional signals reveal your subconscious beliefs. The subconscious doesn't speak in words, it speaks through feelings. If prosperity feels uncomfortable or too much, your subconscious will keep pushing it away to protect you. Reprogramming requires speaking the language of the subconscious, repetition, and emotion. You can't simply think a new belief. You must feel it until it becomes natural. Every time you visualize your goals with emotion, express gratitude for what you already have, and affirm your worthiness, you are rewriting the old code. Neuroscience proves that mental imagery activates the same neural pathways as real experience. When you imagine yourself thriving and feel it deeply, your brain begins wiring itself for that new identity. Eventually, it stops feeling like fantasy and starts feeling like truth. Elon Musk embodies this principle perfectly. He doesn't approach ideas with hesitation. He assumes success is inevitable and acts from that belief. That certainty comes from deep subconscious alignment. The same is true for Oprah Winfrey, who transformed a background of poverty into a legacy of abundance. She often said, "You don't get in life what you want, you get what you believe." Her story shows how shifting inner programming can alter destiny. But here's the secret. Affirmations alone aren't enough if they clash with emotional energy. You can't say, "I am wealthy," while feeling fear, guilt, or disbelief. The subconscious follows emotion, not logic. That's why gratitude, visualization, and embodied practice are so effective. They combine emotion with repetition. When you feel abundant before evidence appears, you teach your subconscious that wealth is normal, safe, and deserved. Once it accepts that, your external reality begins aligning naturally. The best time to influence the subconscious is when your brain waves slow, just before sleep or right after waking. In those moments, your mind is in alpha and theta states, open to suggestion. By repeating empowering beliefs and visualizing your ideal reality, then, you bypass resistance and plant seeds directly into the subconscious soil. Over time, those seeds grow into new automatic thoughts, habits, and outcomes. Jim Carrey famously practiced this. Before he was successful, he would drive to the Hollywood Hills and visualize producers interested in him. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it years into the future. When he later received that exact amount for a movie, he realized it wasn't coincidence, it was alignment. His subconscious had already accepted that reality, and his actions followed accordingly. Still, there's another layer: emotional clearing. You can't build new wealth beliefs on old emotional blocks. Guilt, resentment, or fear around money act like viruses in your subconscious code. Forgiveness of yourself and others clears space for new prosperity patterns to take hold. When you release the emotional charge attached to scarcity, you make room for abundance to flow freely. Environment also shapes subconscious beliefs. Surround yourself with people, symbols, and energy that reflect success. Read books that expand your perspective. Spend time in spaces that make you feel abundant. The subconscious learns through repetition and association. The more you expose yourself to the energy of prosperity, the more it becomes your normal state. Remember, you're not trapped by your past programming. You can rewrite it at any moment. Start telling your mind new truths. That wealth amplifies your impact. That abundance is your natural state. That success benefits everyone it touches. Repeat them with feeling. Live as if they're already true, and your subconscious will accept them as fact. Eventually, you'll notice the shift. You'll stop chasing prosperity and start attracting it. Your behavior will align effortlessly with success because it now matches your internal identity. You'll make better decisions, attract aligned people, and move with confidence instead of fear. That's not coincidence. It's your subconscious blueprint, working in harmony with your vision. You are the architect of your mind, and your mind is the architect of your reality. Change your subconscious blueprint, and everything else follows. Because wealth doesn't begin in your bank account, it begins in your belief system. Once your subconscious believes you're worthy of prosperity, nothing can stop it from finding you. Topic 4. The power of emotion. How feelings shape financial frequency. Every decision you make, every opportunity you attract, and every action you take is driven by emotion. Logic may guide the direction, but emotion fuels the movement. That's why, when it comes to prosperity and success, mastering your emotions isn't optional, it's essential. Your emotions act like a frequency that continuously broadcasts your state of being to the world. Whatever you feel most consistently, gratitude or fear, abundance or lack, becomes the emotional vibration that magnetizes experiences into your life. Science and spirituality agree on this. Emotion is energy in motion. Each feeling sends biochemical signals throughout your body, altering your physiology, behavior, and perception. Positive emotions such as joy, gratitude, and confidence expand your awareness, opening your mind to creativity and opportunity. Negative emotions like fear and doubt constrict your vision, making you focus only on what's wrong or missing. In other words, your emotional state determines what you can see, attract, and act upon. Prosperity begins not with effort, but with emotional alignment. Think about it. When you're inspired and confident, ideas flow effortlessly. People respond differently to you. You take bold actions because you feel capable. But when you're anxious or defeated, everything feels heavier. You hesitate, second-guess yourself, and unconsciously repel opportunities. This is not coincidence. It's the psychological and energetic consequence of emotion. Your feelings color your perception, and perception creates your experience. The wealthiest people on earth aren't just financially intelligent, they're emotionally intelligent. They know how to regulate their inner state regardless of external chaos. When others panic, they stay calm. When markets crash, they look for opportunity. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." That's not just investment advice, it's emotional mastery. It's the ability to remain centered and abundant in consciousness, even when the world shakes. Your emotional frequency acts like a magnet. When you dwell in emotions of gratitude, joy, and trust, you radiate stability and confidence. People feel that. Opportunities feel that. It's why some individuals seem to attract luck. They're not lucky, they're emotionally coherent. Their energy invites connection, collaboration, and prosperity because others sense safety and positivity in their presence. Emotion communicates faster and more powerfully than words ever could. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research on neuroplasticity shows that emotion, when paired with thought, rewires the brain and body. When you visualize wealth or success while feeling grateful and abundant, your body begins to experience that reality as if it's already true. The subconscious doesn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined emotion. So, when you repeatedly feel prosperous emotions, you train your brain and nervous system to embody prosperity before it arrives. And soon, life catches up. But most people do the opposite. They think abundance thoughts while feeling worry. They affirm, "I'm wealthy," while emotionally vibrating at fear or frustration. The subconscious follows emotion, not affirmation. That's why manifestation isn't about pretending to be positive. It's about shifting your emotional baseline. When your emotions align with abundance, you don't need to chase results. You magnetize them. A clear example of emotional frequency shaping success is Richard Branson. His energy is playful, curious, and fearless. That emotional tone infuses everything he creates. from Virgin Airlines to his personal life. His businesses reflect his inner state. He once said, "Business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming." That mindset keeps him relaxed and open, constantly attracting new ventures because he never operates from desperation. To master your emotional frequency, start with awareness. Notice the emotions that dominate your day. Are they fear-based or faith-based? Every emotion has a vibration. Fear and guilt are low frequencies that drain energy, while gratitude, joy, and love operate at higher frequencies that expand energy. When you catch yourself feeling low, don't suppress it. Acknowledge it, breathe through it, and consciously choose a better state. Emotional mastery doesn't mean ignoring pain, it means transmuting it into power. Gratitude is one of the most transformative emotional states for prosperity. It shifts your focus from lack to sufficiency. When you feel genuine gratitude, your heart and brain enter a state of coherence, measurable harmony that boosts intuition, creativity, and resilience. From that emotional alignment, decisions become clearer, ideas come easier, and actions feel inspired instead of forced. Gratitude literally changes your biology to support success. Another powerful emotion is joy in the process. Most people postpone joy until they arrive at the promotion, the income goal, or the recognition. But waiting for joy delays success. Emotionally abundant people understand that joy is fuel, not a reward. When you enjoy the journey, you radiate energy that attracts more opportunities. This is why people who love what they do often outperform those chasing only money. Their emotional state itself multiplies their success. Still, the path to emotional mastery requires emotional honesty. You can't fake high vibrations while carrying resentment or fear inside. Those suppressed emotions leak into your energy, influencing your results. The solution is not to resist them, but to feel and release them. Forgiveness, self-compassion, and mindfulness are tools to clean your emotional field. When you release old emotional baggage, your energy rises naturally. Think of your emotions as the climate of your inner world. If the climate is cold and stormy, nothing grows. But when it's warm, calm, and vibrant, abundance flourishes. Managing that inner climate daily is the essence of wealth consciousness. You can't control every event, but you can always control your emotional response. And your response determines whether you spiral downward or rise higher. To align with prosperity, practice emotional awareness and recalibration throughout the day. If you catch yourself feeling scarcity, pause and breathe deeply. Shift your focus to gratitude for something small. Feel the difference in your body, the lightness, the openness. That's you raising your frequency. Over time, that new emotional state becomes your default. The secret is consistency. A single moment of gratitude feels good, but a lifestyle of gratitude transforms your destiny. The more often you dwell in elevated emotions, the more your reality reorganizes to match them. Emotion becomes your silent business partner, your hidden marketing tool, your unseen magnet. Because emotion is not just reaction, it's creation. Every time you feel abundance before evidence appears, you send a signal to life saying, "I am ready to receive." And life, as it always does, responds in kind. Topic 5. The power of belief, turning thoughts into prosperity reality. Every great success story begins with a single invisible element: belief. Before the wealth, before the achievement, before the recognition, there was someone who believed it was possible. Belief is the seed of all prosperity. It's the inner certainty that precedes outer evidence. Without belief, action feels forced. With belief, even small steps generate momentum. The quality of your belief determines the quality of your results. Your mind is constantly creating according to what it believes to be true. If deep down you believe wealth is difficult, your actions will unconsciously align with struggle. If you believe success is natural, opportunities flow more easily toward you. It's not magic, it's psychology. The subconscious mind seeks consistency between belief and experience. It will always steer your actions, emotions, and decisions toward confirming what it already assumes is real. That's why belief isn't a motivational idea. It's a psychological law. Henry Ford famously said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." He wasn't being poetic. He was describing how human perception shapes destiny. When Ford believed he could build a car affordable for the masses, everyone around him called it impossible. Yet his belief was stronger than their doubt. That belief shaped his persistence, his innovation, and ultimately his success. History remembers his vision, but it all began with belief. Belief is a mental contract with the universe. It tells your mind what to focus on and what to ignore. When you believe something is possible, your reticular activating system, the brain's filter, starts noticing opportunities that align with that belief. But when you believe something is out of reach, your mind literally blocks it from your awareness. You can't perceive what your belief system forbids. That's why people living in the same city, working in the same field, can have completely different realities. They're filtering life through different belief patterns. Every millionaire, visionary, or changemaker you admire once stood where you are now, facing uncertainty. What separated them from the rest wasn't luck, but the conviction that their dreams were achievable. Take J.K. Rowling, for example. She was rejected by a dozen publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. She once said, "I had nothing to lose and something I desperately wanted to prove." Her belief didn't remove obstacles. It gave her the emotional endurance to move through them. Belief changes physiology. Studies in neuroscience and the placebo effect reveal that when people believe something will help them, their body and brain respond as if it's already true. This is the power of expectation. Belief generates biochemical responses that either empower or weaken you. When you believe you can succeed, your brain releases neurotransmitters that increase motivation, focus, and resilience. When you believe you can't, the opposite occurs. Your energy drops, your clarity fades, and your creativity shuts down. The key to building empowering beliefs is repetition and evidence. You can't fake belief, but you can grow it. Start by questioning old assumptions. Who told you success must be hard? Who decided you're not capable? Then look for counterexamples. People who began with less than you and achieved more. Each new piece of evidence begins to dismantle limiting beliefs. Over time, your subconscious accepts new ones as reality. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for belief transformation. When you vividly imagine your success, seeing, hearing, and feeling it, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if it's actually happening. The more you repeat this emotional rehearsal, the more your subconscious adopts it as truth. Belief becomes muscle memory. That's why top athletes, entrepreneurs, and performers use visualization daily. They're programming certainty into their nervous systems. But belief also requires alignment between words, thoughts, and actions. You can't say, "I believe in my success," while living from fear and hesitation. Each time you doubt yourself, you weaken the neural circuits of belief. But every time you act with faith, even in small ways, you reinforce those circuits. Belief grows through movement. It's not something you wait to feel, it's something you build by proving to yourself, again and again, that you can. Consider the story of Sarah Blakely, the billionaire founder of Spanx. She started with $5,000 in savings and no background in fashion. She faced constant rejection, but she kept saying, "I knew it would work. I just didn't know how long it would take." Her belief wasn't arrogance, it was alignment. She refused to let doubt dictate her destiny. That inner conviction became the blueprint for her fortune. Every limiting belief you hold today was learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. The mind is plastic, adaptable, and always listening. Start feeding it thoughts that expand your potential. Money flows to me because I create value. Success is safe for me. I deserve to prosper. These aren't empty affirmations, they're new commands. When repeated with feeling, they begin reshaping the inner architecture of your belief system. Over time, belief transforms into identity. You no longer have to convince yourself you're capable, you know it. And when belief becomes identity, success becomes inevitable, because you're no longer chasing outcomes. You're expressing who you already are. Belief is the bridge between imagination and reality. It's the unseen power behind every breakthrough and every fortune. When you train your mind to believe before you see, you activate one of the most potent laws of prosperity. Reality must eventually mirror conviction. The world doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your certainty. So ask yourself, what do you truly believe about success? About wealth? About your worth? Because life will always prove you right. Topic 6. The science of visualization, creating prosperity through mental imagery. Every great success starts with a picture. not a photograph, but a vision. Before wealth appears in a bank account or success becomes public, it's first formed in the mind. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It's the intentional act of programming your subconscious for success. It's how ideas turn into results, how energy turns into action, and how thought becomes form. The brain doesn't clearly separate imagination from reality. When you vividly imagine something with emotion, your brain fires the same neural patterns as if you were experiencing it in real life. That's why elite athletes, entrepreneurs, and performers use visualization to prepare for success. They understand that the mind rehearses before the body performs. What you repeatedly see and feel inside eventually becomes what you live outside. When you visualize prosperity, your subconscious begins to align with that mental picture. You start noticing opportunities and people that fit your inner vision. This is your reticular activating system, the brain's internal filter, at work. It highlights what matches your dominant thoughts. If you constantly picture limitation, that's all you'll see. But if you train yourself to imagine success clearly, your brain starts recognizing the paths to achieve it. Arnold Schwarzenegger used this principle long before fame. As a young bodybuilder in Austria, he would close his eyes and see himself standing on the Mr. Olympia stage, holding the trophy. He felt the lights, the applause, the victory, as if it were already happening. Later, he used the same technique to envision himself as a Hollywood actor, and then as a political leader. He said, "The mind is the limit. As long as you can imagine it, you can do it." His life became the proof of that truth. Visualization works because it gives your subconscious a clear blueprint. Most people focus on what they don't want, constantly replaying fears and failures. That's also visualization, but in reverse. When you picture worst-case scenarios, your subconscious begins manifesting the emotional and behavioral conditions to match them. Worry is negative visualization. Prosperity requires conscious mental direction, a decision to focus your inner movie on success. The secret is emotion. The subconscious doesn't respond to words, it responds to feeling. When you visualize with emotion, you're imprinting your desire onto your nervous system. So, don't just see yourself succeeding. Feel what it's like. Feel the gratitude of receiving your goals, the confidence of abundance, the peace of financial security. That emotional energy becomes magnetic. It tells your brain and the universe, "This is my new normal." Visualization is more powerful when practiced during relaxed brain states, right after waking up or just before sleep. In those moments, your mind enters alpha or theta frequency, the same receptive state children are in when they absorb information effortlessly. Spend a few minutes imagining your desired future during these times. The images you create will bypass conscious resistance and take root in the subconscious soil where all change begins. Jim Carrey's story illustrates this perfectly. Before becoming famous, he would drive up to the Hollywood Hills and visualize producers calling him, contracts arriving, and audiences cheering. He even wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it 5 years ahead. When he eventually received that exact amount, he said it didn't surprise him because he had already lived it in his mind. That's the power of sustained visualization. When you hold a clear image long enough, it starts shaping your behavior. You make decisions that align with it. You carry yourself differently. You attract experiences that match your mental frequency. The outer world bends to the inner one. But visualization isn't about fantasy or control. It's not forcing the universe. It's aligning with it. It's about becoming the person who naturally lives the life you're imagining. The goal isn't to chase an image, but to embody its energy until it feels like truth. Then, life simply reflects that truth back to you. Steve Jobs practiced this principle constantly. He visualized not just products, but entire user experiences. He would see how people would interact with the iPhone or iMac years before they existed. He said, "You have to be burning with an idea, or a problem, or a wrong that you want to right. If you're not passionate enough from the start, you'll never stick it out." His visualization wasn't passive daydreaming. It was vivid mental creation infused with emotion and purpose. To make visualization work for you, consistency is key. Spend a few minutes each day, morning and night, seeing and feeling your success. Picture yourself confident, abundant, and fulfilled. See your surroundings, hear the sounds, feel the emotions. The more real it becomes inside, the faster it manifests outside. Over time, your mind begins to accept that reality as inevitable. If fear or doubt arises, don't fight it. Redirect it. Use visualization to create a new emotional anchor. Instead of imagining failure, visualize overcoming it with strength. Instead of picturing lack, visualize receiving abundance with peace. Gradually, your emotional state shifts from anxiety to assurance, from resistance to readiness. Visualization is not escaping reality. It's designing it. Every great creator, leader, and visionary has used this inner power to shape the external world. The process is simple but profound. Imagine vividly, feel deeply, repeat consistently. Because what the mind rehearses, the body believes. And what the body believes, life eventually delivers. Topic 7. The energy of action. Turning mental alignment into prosperous momentum. There is a moment when vision must become movement, when belief must express itself through action. You can reprogram your mind, visualize success, and cultivate high vibration. But without action, everything remains potential. Prosperity is not just a mental or emotional state. It's the manifestation of energy in motion. Success responds to movement. It rewards those who turn inner alignment into outer creation. Action is the bridge between thought and result. Yet, not all action produces prosperity. Many people work tirelessly but feel stuck because their actions are driven by fear, doubt, or desperation, low-frequency emotions that block flow. True prosperous action arises from alignment, when your thoughts, feelings, and intentions move in the same direction. That's when your effort feels inspired rather than forced. You move with clarity, and the universe moves with you. Think of it like rowing a boat with the current instead of against it. When your inner beliefs align with your goals, every stroke carries more power. You stop wasting energy trying to make things happen and begin allowing them to unfold. This is what successful people mean when they say, "It didn't feel like work." They still act, but their actions are charged with purpose, focus, and flow, not struggle. The key to prosperous action lies in state. Your emotional and mental energy determines the quality of your behavior. If you act from frustration or scarcity, you send mixed signals to your subconscious. Part of you wants success, but another part expects failure. The result is inconsistency. But when you act from certainty, gratitude, and excitement, your energy becomes magnetic. Opportunities respond to that frequency. Consider how entrepreneurs like Richard Branson operate. He doesn't chase ideas, he follows energy. When something excites him, he moves fast, not recklessly, but with trust in the momentum. He once said, "Business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming." That mindset allows him to stay playful and proactive rather than anxious or rigid. His actions flow from enthusiasm, not fear, and that's why they attract success so naturally. This energy of action can be felt in every prosperous person's story. Oprah Winfrey often says she never takes action until she feels a sense of alignment, a quiet inner knowing that says, yes. Once she feels that signal, she moves boldly, knowing the energy behind her action carries power. That's what inspired action is, not forced effort, but conscious movement fueled by emotional coherence. Inspired action doesn't always mean doing something big. Sometimes it's the small, consistent steps taken daily with faith and focus that build unstoppable momentum. Momentum is powerful because energy compounds. Each aligned action reinforces your belief, raises your vibration, and attracts new opportunities, which in turn inspire more action. This creates a self-sustaining cycle of prosperity. However, fear of failure often blocks this flow. Many people wait for perfect conditions before they move. But perfection is an illusion. The universe doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards motion. When you take the first step, even without knowing the entire path, you signal confidence. That signal draws guidance, synchronicities, and resources your logical mind couldn't predict. Prosperity loves clarity and decisiveness. Elon Musk embodies this principle. Whether starting Tesla, SpaceX, or Neuralink, he acts boldly in the face of uncertainty. His energy is forward-moving, driven by vision rather than fear. He once said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." That's the essence of prosperity consciousness, acting from conviction, not circumstance. When your action is infused with passion and purpose, you tap into flow, a state of full engagement where time disappears and creativity expands. Neuroscientists have found that during flow, the brain releases dopamine and norepinephrine, chemicals that heighten focus, confidence, and motivation. That's why aligned action feels so natural and productive. It's biologically supported by your body's peak performance chemistry. To cultivate this energy, start by connecting every action to your why. Why do you want prosperity? Why does your goal matter? When your actions serve a deeper purpose, they gain emotional charge. Each task, even mundane ones, becomes infused with meaning. That emotional energy transforms routine into ritual. It's also vital to act with gratitude instead of urgency. Gratitude grounds your energy in abundance. Urgency stems from fear of lack. When you act from gratitude, grateful for the opportunity, the lesson, or even the challenge, your energy stays high and expansive. You attract results without exhausting yourself. Another secret to maintaining the energy of action is completion. Unfinished tasks drain energy because they occupy mental space. Each time you finish something, even small, you release dopamine, which strengthens motivation. That biochemical reward fuels momentum. The more momentum you build, the more confident and prosperous you feel. Remember, the universe amplifies movement. When you move, it moves with you. Action triggers clarity. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Every aligned action sends a message, I am ready, and life responds. In the end, success is not about doing more. It's about doing what's aligned. It's not about constant hustle, but consistent, high-energy motion in the right direction. Prosperity is drawn to people who act with conviction, joy, and faith. Because while thought creates the vision, emotion gives it life, and action makes it real. The bridge between the invisible and the visible is built one inspired step at a time. When you act from alignment, you become unstoppable, because you're no longer forcing success, you're flowing with it. Topic 8. The wealth frequency, how energy and prosperity vibrate together. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every sound, every thought, every emotion, every atom. You are not separate from that energetic field. You are part of it. Prosperity isn't just a financial concept. It's a frequency. It's an energetic state of being that determines what you attract, how you respond, and what you allow into your life. When your energy aligns with abundance, wealth flows naturally. But when your vibration is anchored in fear, doubt, or scarcity, that flow slows down or stops entirely. The wealth frequency is not mystical. It's psychological and energetic science combined. Quantum physics shows that energy responds to observation and intention. Similarly, neuroscience proves that emotion and thought alter the body's electromagnetic field. When you feel gratitude, joy, or confidence, your frequency expands. You radiate coherent energy that draws in matching experiences. But when you dwell in worry, guilt, or resentment, your energy contracts, creating resistance. You can't attract prosperity while vibrating at the emotional frequency of lack. Imagine two radios tuned to different stations. Abundance plays on a higher frequency, while fear broadcasts on a lower one. Both stations are transmitting, but you can only hear the one you're tuned into. If your thoughts constantly replay limitations, it's hard. I'm not ready. I can't afford it. You're tuned to scarcity. To access prosperity, you must shift your internal dial. You do that through awareness, emotion, and consistent energetic practice. Your energy field is constantly communicating with your environment. People feel it before you speak. Opportunities respond to it before you act. That's why two people with identical skills can walk into a room. One leaves unnoticed, and the other attracts connection, collaboration, and trust. The difference isn't luck, it's vibration. Prosperous people emit calm confidence, joy, and authenticity. Others sense it and want to be near it. Your energy either repels or magnetizes. Think of wealth not as something you chase, but as a frequency you embody. Money, opportunities, and relationships are drawn to resonance, not resistance. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with abundance, your life becomes a magnet for it. When they're misaligned, when you act positive but feel anxious inside, the signal becomes distorted. The universe always responds, but it mirrors your true energy, not your words. To elevate your wealth frequency, begin with emotion. Gratitude is one of the most powerful frequency raisers. When you genuinely appreciate what you already have, your heart and brain enter a state of coherence, measurable harmony that expands your electromagnetic field. In that state, you become more intuitive, creative, and receptive. You think more clearly and act more decisively. Gratitude opens the channels through which prosperity flows. Joy is another amplifier. When you do what lights you up, your energy expands effortlessly. That's why passion-based entrepreneurs often succeed faster. Their joy is contagious. Joy tells the universe, "I'm aligned." Struggle, on the other hand, signals resistance. The more joy you integrate into your process, the faster abundance responds. Visualization and affirmation also tune your vibration, but they must be backed by feeling. Simply saying, "I am wealthy," without emotion is like playing a song with no sound. But when you feel the energy of wealth, the security, freedom, generosity, you begin transmitting that frequency consistently. The subconscious starts treating it as truth, and soon your outer results catch up. Your physical environment also influences your vibration. Clutter, chaos, and neglect carry dense energy that lowers your frequency. Clean, organized spaces radiate clarity and abundance. That's why many wealthy people prioritize aesthetics and order. It's not vanity, it's energy management. Surround yourself with symbols of prosperity that remind you of abundance, not lack. Uplifting books, art, plants, or even scents that elevate your mood. Generosity is another secret to maintaining the wealth frequency. Giving, time, attention, kindness, or money tells your subconscious, "I have more than enough." This reinforces abundance at a cellular level. The paradox of wealth is that the more you circulate it, the more it returns. Hoarding comes from fear. Generosity flows from trust. When you act as a source of abundance, you naturally attract more of it. The wealth frequency also thrives on stillness. Silence and meditation allow you to recalibrate when life feels chaotic. When you quiet your mind, your energy resets to balance. In that space of peace, intuition speaks clearly. Many breakthroughs come not from grinding, but from allowing, letting new ideas and insights emerge from alignment. People like Oprah Winfrey, Deepak Chopra, and countless conscious entrepreneurs embody this energetic truth. They treat their emotional and spiritual energy as seriously as their business strategies. They understand that the outer game of success is sustained only by the inner frequency of prosperity. You can't build long-term wealth with short-term vibration. So, ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Fear or faith? Gratitude or frustration? Abundance or limitation? Your answer determines your energetic alignment, and your alignment determines your results. To maintain the wealth frequency, make it a daily practice to check your energy. Breathe deeply, center your thoughts, and choose elevated emotions deliberately. Speak abundance, act with integrity, and celebrate even the smallest wins. The more consistently you embody abundance, the more your external world mirrors it back. Because in truth, you don't create wealth, you tune into it. Prosperity is not something outside of you. It's a vibration you learn to sustain. And once your frequency matches abundance, wealth stops being a pursuit. It becomes your natural state. Topic 9. The prosperity mindset. Thinking like the wealthy before you become one. Before anyone becomes wealthy on the outside, they must first become wealthy on the inside. Every self-made millionaire, visionary, or successful entrepreneur has one thing in common. They learned to think differently long before their results changed. The prosperity mindset is not about money itself. It's about the psychology that attracts money, success, and fulfillment. It's the way you interpret challenges, approach opportunities, and respond to life. Your mindset shapes your destiny because your thoughts dictate your emotions drive your actions, and your actions create your results. A prosperity mindset begins with possibility. While most people think in terms of limitation, what they can't do, what's missing, or what might go wrong, the prosperous thinker trains the mind to focus on potential. They ask, "How can I make this work?" instead of, "Why won't this work?" This shift alone changes everything. It opens creative pathways in the brain, ignites resourcefulness, and transforms obstacles into opportunities. The wealthy don't wait for perfect conditions, they create them. Prosperous thinkers also understand that wealth is not luck, it's cause and effect. They see money as energy, a reflection of value exchanged, not as something mysterious or unfair. They know that the more value they create, the more abundance they attract. Poor mindsets obsess over saving and scarcity, while prosperous mindsets focus on growth and expansion. They invest time, energy, and resources into learning, innovation, and self-improvement because they see themselves as the source of their wealth. Let's look at one of the greatest examples of the prosperity mindset, Elon Musk. Whether you agree with his methods or not, his thinking is limitless. He doesn't approach problems from fear. He approaches them from curiosity and possibility. Colonizing Mars, creating reusable rockets, or building electric cars that revolutionized an industry, all of these ideas began with a mindset that refused to accept limitation. Musk doesn't ask, "Is it possible?" He asks, "How do we make it possible?" That's the essence of prosperity thinking, solutions over excuses. Another hallmark of the prosperity mindset is emotional resilience. Wealthy thinkers don't crumble under failure, they learn from it. They understand that setbacks are part of progress. When something doesn't work, they analyze, adapt, and move forward with stronger strategy. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset made him one of the most prolific inventors in history. Prosperous minds see failure not as rejection, but as feedback, a stepping stone toward mastery. Gratitude also plays a central role. People with scarcity mindsets constantly feel like something is missing. They live in not enough. But those with prosperity mindsets live in more than enough. They appreciate what they have while staying open to more. Gratitude doesn't mean complacency. It means acknowledging abundance in every stage of the journey. This emotional state magnetizes more of what they appreciate. Gratitude is both the seed and the harvest of wealth. Prosperous thinkers also embrace long-term vision. While scarcity-driven minds chase instant gratification, wealthy minds understand the power of patience and compounding. They think in decades, not days. Jeff Bezos once said, "If you double the number of experiments you do per year, you're going to double your inventiveness." He built Amazon not for quick profit, but for long-term dominance, because prosperity thinking always considers expansion, not immediacy. The prosperity mindset also rejects victimhood. People with scarcity mentalities blame circumstances, governments, or other people for their struggles. Prosperous individuals take radical responsibility. They may acknowledge external challenges, but they refuse to give away their power. They ask, "What can I control? What can I create?" This ownership turns them into leaders of their destiny instead of prisoners of their environment. Another key distinction is that the prosperous mindset operates from faith rather than fear. Faith in oneself, faith in process, faith in the unseen. You can't build abundance while doubting your worth or waiting for proof. The wealthy think from certainty, not anxiety. They understand that belief precedes evidence, that their conviction creates their circumstances. As Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future." People with prosperous minds also manage their relationship with money differently. They don't see it as something to hoard, but as something to circulate. They know that money is a tool, a means to create freedom, opportunity, and impact. They think of wealth as a mirror reflecting their inner growth, not as their source of identity. This mindset keeps them both abundant and humble. Cultivating the prosperity mindset requires consistency. It's not enough to think positively once in a while. You must recondition your mind daily. Replace self-doubt with self-trust. Replace "I can't afford this" with "How can I afford this?" Replace envy with inspiration. When you change your habitual thoughts, you change your frequency, and the universe begins responding differently. Your environment also reinforces your mindset. Surround yourself with people who think expansively, who talk about ideas, not gossip. Energy is contagious. Being around those who operate from abundance strengthens your own prosperity consciousness. Read, learn, listen, and expose yourself to success stories that challenge your limits. Ultimately, the prosperity mindset is about alignment, aligning thought, emotion, and behavior with abundance. It's about seeing life as happening for you, not to you. When you begin thinking like the wealthy, before you're wealthy, your external world starts to rearrange itself accordingly. Opportunities emerge, creativity flows, and confidence rises because your energy matches success. You don't need to wait for wealth to think prosperously. You begin by adopting the inner traits of those who already live abundantly: clarity, optimism, gratitude, courage, and generosity. As your mind evolves, your circumstances follow. Because life doesn't respond to what you wish for, it responds to what you think like, act like, and feel like consistently. Prosperity, then, is not something you achieve. It's something you become. The moment your mind adopts that truth, wealth no longer feels like a dream. It feels like destiny. Topic 10. The psychology of lasting prosperity. Living in the flow of success and abundance. There's a powerful difference between achieving prosperity and sustaining it. Many people reach moments of success, a promotion, a profitable business, a sudden breakthrough, only to lose it just as fast. Why? Because external results can only endure when they match internal identity. True prosperity isn't about a number in your bank account or a temporary victory. It's a psychological and spiritual state of alignment that allows abundance to flow continuously through your life. It's not something you have, it's something you are. Lasting prosperity begins when you stop chasing and start flowing. When you move beyond the belief that success must come through constant struggle and begin understanding that abundance is a natural extension of who you've become. The people who sustain wealth and fulfillment are those who have learned to live from being, not from wanting. They don't pursue success to feel worthy. They know they are worthy, and that certainty naturally attracts more success. The foundation of lasting prosperity is inner balance. When your values, emotions, and actions are aligned, you become a magnet for stability. Many people sabotage their success because they build it on imbalance, working excessively, neglecting health, relationships, or inner peace. They achieve results but feel empty. The psychology of true prosperity integrates all aspects of life: financial abundance, emotional fulfillment, purpose, health, and connection. When one grows out of harmony with the others, prosperity becomes fragile. But when they're in sync, abundance becomes sustainable. One of the great secrets of the truly prosperous is that they never see money as the goal. Money is simply the byproduct of contribution, creativity, and value. When you make your purpose bigger than profit, profit grows exponentially. Steve Jobs didn't focus on making money. He focused on creating beauty, simplicity, and innovation. The wealth followed naturally because it was born from alignment. Prosperity flows through people who serve something greater than themselves. Another key to sustaining abundance is emotional mastery. Emotions are energy, and energy either multiplies or drains prosperity. People who live in fear of losing what they've built often do. They hold so tightly that they restrict flow. But those who live with gratitude and trust maintain the vibration of abundance, even through uncertainty. They understand that wealth is a river, not a reservoir. It moves through you as long as you stay open, generous, and confident in your ability to create more. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become." That statement captures the essence of lasting prosperity. To keep attracting success, you must keep evolving. Growth keeps the flow alive. Every new level of abundance requires a new level of awareness. If you cling to old habits, old fears, or old identities, your prosperity plateaus. But when you continue expanding, learning, adapting, and contributing, your energy stays vibrant and prosperity keeps responding. There's also a psychological shift that defines enduring abundance, from ownership to stewardship. When you see wealth as something you own, you tend to fear its loss. But when you see it as something you manage and circulate, as a tool for good, you stay connected to its flow. Prosperous individuals don't just accumulate, they multiply impact. They donate, teach, invest, and empower others. Their wealth circulates, and in that circulation, it grows stronger. Lasting prosperity also requires detachment, not indifference, but the ability to enjoy abundance without becoming enslaved by it. Detachment means knowing you are the source, not the outcome. You can appreciate wealth, success, and recognition, but you don't depend on them to feel fulfilled. This is what keeps prosperity from turning into anxiety. When your happiness doesn't depend on external validation, you maintain peace, regardless of temporary fluctuations. That peace itself becomes magnetic. It draws more stability, trust, and opportunity into your life. Consider Oprah Winfrey's evolution. She began by overcoming immense adversity, then built an empire not from ambition alone, but from purpose, self-awareness, and service. Her prosperity endures because it's built on identity, not circumstance. She lives in the flow, giving, creating, and expanding with intention. The energy she puts into the world comes back multiplied, not because she chases it, but because she channels it. That's the essence of lasting prosperity, becoming a conduit for abundance, not a collector of it. Another pillar of enduring success is presence. Prosperous people understand that the most powerful state of creation is the present moment. They're not consumed by regrets of the past or anxiety about the future. They act intentionally now. The mind, when anchored in the present, has full access to creativity and intuition, the very tools that attract opportunity. Presence connects you to flow. When you're truly engaged with what you're doing, your energy aligns perfectly with your purpose, and life begins to respond in synchronicity. To live in sustained prosperity, you must cultivate daily habits that maintain your inner alignment. Meditation, gratitude journaling, mindful breathing, or simply taking time for silence are not luxuries. They're maintenance rituals for abundance. They keep your vibration high, your focus clear, and your energy balanced. Prosperity thrives in clarity. Chaos repels it. When you maintain inner order, external order follows. Also, never stop dreaming. Complacency is the silent enemy of prosperity. The moment you stop envisioning something greater, your creative energy begins to decline. Prosperity loves expansion, not from greed, but from growth. Set new goals, explore new ideas, and stretch beyond comfort. Expansion is the natural rhythm of abundance. And above all, remember this truth. Prosperity is not something you earn. It's something you allow. You don't force abundance. You align with it. The more you trust, the easier it flows. The more you resist, the harder it feels. The universe mirrors your internal state. When your energy says, "I am abundant, grateful, and capable," life echoes that belief in the form of opportunities, relationships, and resources. So, lasting prosperity is not a final destination. It's a continuous state of evolution. It's waking up each day aligned with purpose, guided by gratitude and grounded in faith. It's living in the awareness that you are the creator of your reality, not its victim. When you live from this state, success becomes effortless. You don't chase results, you attract them. You don't compete, you create. You don't fear loss, you trust flow. That's the psychology of lasting prosperity, being so internally aligned that life cannot help but match your vibration. And when you reach that level of awareness, prosperity is no longer something you pursue. It's the air you breathe, the energy you embody, and the natural rhythm of your existence. If this message touched something deep within you, if it reminded you of your own power to create, attract, and live in true abundance, then don't let it end here. Keep this energy alive. Keep this awareness growing. Because prosperity is not something you watch. It's something you practice every single day. So, if this video awakened something inside you, subscribe to the Success and Prosperity Code channel and make it part of your daily ritual of transformation. Like this video if you felt its truth resonating within you. It helps more people find this message and join this movement of conscious success. Comment below what insight or realization hit you the hardest today. Your words might inspire someone else's breakthrough. And share this video with a friend who's ready to rise, because prosperity expands when it's shared. Remember, every time you choose to think abundantly, act consciously, and feel grateful, you're reprogramming the world around you. You are the proof that success and serenity can coexist. You are the living frequency of prosperity in motion. Stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep unlocking the Success and Prosperity Code, because your most abundant life is already waiting for you to match its vibration.